It is Sunday night. We're here talking baseball. Hard to go wrong with that. We're talking 2026 draft fades, all coming up next in the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Happy Sunday evening, everybody. Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. We are sponsored by Fantrax. We appreciate them for that. If you can please rate and review the podcast, also helps us out a lot as well there. Jeff, I guess I should say it's Jeff Erickson here. I'm Scott Jenstad, as always on Sunday nights. Jeff, how's everything with you?
Doing well. Busy weekend, but good weekend. Last time before I start my travels, Tout Wars next weekend. Got obviously the main event in 2 weekends. I've got our staff keeper league, got my home leagues. It's you're going to see a flurry of draft boards. They've already been going, but it's even going to accelerate.
It is. It's fully here. I need to finalize some stuff and get a little more draft prep going, but I'm starting to get there a little bit. So it's starting to be fun. Yeah, we get Vegas in 10, 11 days, something like that.
Yeah, I know. Hotel is booked. Excited for that.
Nice.
Yeah, very excited. I'm going to be playing if we fill this last auction championship. I'm going to be playing in my first NFBC auction championship.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So, very excited about that too.
Does that be Friday in Vegas?
The Friday, 4 p.m. Vegas time. Yes.
Beautiful. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, we're going to do 2026 fades today. That's one of my favorite topics and one of my favorite podcasts to do, but just a few other things to get to before on the front half of the show here. I want to talk to you real quick about kind of the closer market in 2026. I don't know. Have you seen the draft board from the first main event?
Not yet. No. I heard about Spencer Strider going early. That's about the only thing I've seen so far.
Well, I'm glad you haven't yet, because I want to ask you a question. Quiz. First 3 rounds, first 45 picks, 15 team draft. We're talking here. How many closers went in the top 45?
5 or 6?
8.
Okay. And here we go.
I was surprised too. Yeah, it was so the usual 5. It's the Miller, Diaz, Cade Smith, Munoz, and Yohan Duran. Aroldis Chapman 311, David Bednar 312, Devin Williams 314.
I can see it. I've landed on Chapman a couple times in the early 4th, so I'm not that far off. And doesn't surprise me when we get a little main event inflation, especially because the back end of the closer pool remains awful.
Yeah, so that's what I want to ask you about. We got some like tiers. I had some tiers at the top 50 ADP, but that's maybe changing as we get to main event. They got the 5 guys I mentioned. The next tier, you got Devin Williams, Chapman, Bednar, and then Ryan Helsley's kind of in that next tier. He went in the middle of the 5th round. But how are you addressing it? We get to some main events, some 15 teamers here. Are you going to take one in the 3rd round? Mason Miller went the 7th pick of the 2nd round, and Edwin Diaz went 2 picks after that. So 2 teams in the middle took closers in the 2nd round.
Yeah, because they're not coming back to you by the middle of the 3rd.
For sure.
That's the theory, at least when it comes to Miller and Diaz. No, I won't go that early. I'm assuming my home away from home will be the 8th or 9th pick in the main, because that's what I've been doing this year. But yeah, giving away that tidbit of strategy that I won't take a closer in the 2nd round if I'm in the middle. If I'm towards the end of the 2nd round, beginning of the 3rd, I'm far more likely to do that.
Yeah,
might not be able to do that. We'll see if this trend persists.
The funny thing is, so team 7 coming back around in the 2nd round took Diaz. He would not. Munoz, Smith, and Duran were gone by the time he picked in the 3rd round.
Yeah, Paul Spohr is in TGFBI with me, and he took Andres Munoz at 2.6.
Wow.
So in my face again. But that was the first closer for what it's worth. But then. And the closer run wasn't that prodigious there. I got Duran at 3.8 in that league, and Cade Smith was still available too. I
think everybody's realizing that after those top 8, you've got Helsley, then you got some, like, everybody after that is probably what I would call a question mark. I know people like Palencia, people like Jeff Hoffman, Fairbanks, but like all those guys, you can kind of poke holes in those guys. The top 8, seem pretty solid. As we're doing our fades, nobody in the top 8 was someone that I didn't want to take, but you get after that top 8, and you're going to have to use an early pick on someone you don't feel really comfortable with.
Yeah, and hey, you can make arguments against Devin Williams and David Bednar too.
Sure,
both lost their job last year for very temporary pieces of time. Bednar's was shorter than Devin Williams's, but both are they're on great teams and all that. So they're not in my fade list. My fade list goes a little lower, but
mine does too.
Yeah, it starts in that 3rd tier. I think that's where you can really start to poke some holes. And we'll talk about that. But I'd like to get a top 5 closer if possible. but if it's not possible, Chapman's my next. I've landed Chapman a couple of times in recent drafts, so I'm fine with him. I like Palencia a lot in that next tier. I'm okay with Hoffman. Saw a note on him that has me slightly encouraged. I'm okay with Pagan.
You feel like Pagan has a pretty good leash in that job?
I think he's got a leash.
Yeah.
At least. I do worry that he ran too good last year in terms of like fly ball to home run rate, things of that nature. And I'll often settle for Dennis Santana too. I'm okay with him at cost.
Someone in the chat mentioned, do you actually need closers in the main event? I mean, if you're competing for the overall, you do. It's almost impossible to compete really, really high up in the overall without at least one closer. If you're perfect in 9 categories, maybe you're getting there, but it's really, really difficult.
Uncle Ted should know better. He played the main event last
year. He does play in the main event. I just saw it. I knew who it was from.
He went with his Porter Hodge theory and all those guys, and I don't think that worked. So, you can get it. You get any strategy works with the right guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. If you get this year's, it's got to be this year's version of it. If you get not the actual version of it, but if you go ahead and get the right backup closers, you get Uribe and Abreu at their cost from last year. Great. Good for you. You're not getting them at that cost this year. They cost more.
Yep.
If you get, if you land on the right guy on the Rays, that's not Griffin Jacks. If you land on the right guy on other teams, great. If Matt Swanson's it and you get him at pick 300, huzzah. Good for you. But I don't think you can count on it either, though.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, and if you don't end up leave the draft with them, you're going to be spending a lot of fab on them too, and that's tough. If you want to get Nick Kurtz or someone like that, it's hard to do it when you're spending all your money on closers. How do you feel about Milwaukee? Team's going to win some games. They always find a way to be pretty good. They've got 2 guys at the back end. We've got Trevor Megill. We've got Abner Uribe. If one of those guys just takes the job, it's a pretty huge jump, and maybe a top 10 closer right now. If one of those guys had the job right now, easily be a top 8 to 10 guy. Do you have a preference between the two, or neither one's really cheap? So if you do it, you have to hope they close. Do you have a preference there? Are you kind of avoiding that at the cost? What are you doing with those 2 guys?
I'm avoiding at the cost.
Yeah.
And it's just because I don't know. I don't have a hot take.
Yeah.
I think I have a small lean towards Uribe, but I'm not willing to pay I'm not really to back that up with my draft money there. And, like you said, they're not getting discounted. In fact, some cases, Uribe is more expensive than Megill.
Yep.
Both go like around 150 or so. You never after 200. So, and they're both good pitchers. And if Megill gets traded, then they could both close. That's fine. But there's a lot of ifs in there, and you can end up with a 5 save guy. You can end up with 20 save guy. If you end up with 20 saves with that pick,
yep,
it's fine. It's not ideal, but it's fine. But
they're very likely to come with good ratios, good strikeouts for the closer spot. I have a slight lean to Megill, but I wouldn't argue with your slight lean to Uribe either. It's gonna be really interesting who walks out that bullpen door on opening day if they have a lead.
I like the take from PJ here. No way Milwaukee increases Uribe's R value by giving him a bunch of saves. Yeah, that's certainly one of the ways to handicap that. What if Megill gets another flexor tendon strain? Easy for me to say, apparently, but he had a PRP injection over the offseason. So it could be 5 saves for Megill and 35 for Uribe. It could be 20-20. It could be 35-5. It could be a lot of different things. And that's just the uncertainty is not priced in enough for me.
It's not, but if one of those guys that they hit is going to be really, really valuable even at the price, but the one that doesn't hit is going to really be a mess at the price. And like you said, maybe it's 20-20 and they're both just kind of okay too.
Yep. Exactamundo.
So that's kind of the third tier. What are you doing with Josh Hader right now? We got the injury stuff. We got that going on there. We don't really know. He's like kind of throwing, but not really throwing. What do you do with someone like that? Draft price is definitely going down. It's not where it was to start the year. He's about last couple of weeks is about pick 120 right in there. In if you look at online championship, about 120. I don't think I can pay the price there, not knowing that he's taking the mound anytime soon.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. I'm not paying that price. Last 8 days. 122 is the average pick there.
Yeah.
And because I would say you have to back him up with Abreu, but Abreu ain't cheap. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You're having to use 2 picks for relatively valuable spots. That's my problem. Like, I'd rather just take Abreu at cost. If it doesn't work, okay, that's fine. Pick 205. I mean, that's like a 13th, 14th round pick in the main.
Yep. That's a starter.
In the 12s, I do it a little bit more readily. In the 15s, I won't.
Yeah, I mean, in a 13th, 14th round, I mean, that's a starting offensive player. That's a fifth pitcher, a fourth pitcher, something like that. Those are really valuable picks that point. It's not like you're taking a closer and waiting in the 24th round where if you got to drop him, it's no big deal. You don't really want to drop your 13th, 14th round pick early on.
Yep. I have loads of problems with this tier. Loads of problems.
I do too, and makes you realize that, man, getting one of those top 8 or 9 is super valuable if you could do it, but it's high draft capital to do it.
Exactly, but that's also why you're seeing the inflation too.
Yep, it is. Yeah, I think everybody is there doing their final draft bet realizes like, holy crap, if I don't get one of these top 8 or 9, like, I'm starting to do some drafts. If I don't do the top 8 or 9, you just realize how far it falls off. All these guys are concerning.
Yep, exactly. There's some that are more concerning to me than others in that tier.
Yeah,
and we'll get to that. But
we will. Anybody? What about after pick 150? I think a lot of people like Griffin Jacks for the skills. Obviously, we sometimes somebody's Tampa Bay picks a guy, sometimes they don't. They've had different. Fairbanks has had some really good save years in there. Some years they kind of mix and match. But I think the skills with Jacks, the ERA was elevated last year. But he had a crazy high BABIP. It was like 370. 35% strikeout rate, 7% walk rate. I think I feel pretty good that if Griffin Jacks is healthy and out there, and he has been, he's thrown, more than 65 innings the last 5 years. I think the ratio is going to be really good, and I think he'll be really good. It's just a matter of what his role is going to be in Tampa.
Yeah, exactly. And you get at least a little bit of a discount there. And Tampa's not going to be, I think they're going to be better than our projected 77.5 wins. But even if they're not going to be so bad that they don't have enough save chances. Just will they spread them around? That's the real problem. But yeah, Griffin Jacks is fine. It's just the role. It's all, and we always preach draft roles over skills. So I get it only when it comes to closers, by the way. That's the only thing where we do that. But
and someone mentioned in the chat, it's gonna be a hard target with Jacks. I agree. I think he's gonna move up a little bit. You get, as you get through that third tier and you get a couple teams that don't have a closer yet, they're gonna have to jump, and it becomes real. If someone wants to take their second closer, I think he's gonna kind of move up in probably that 130, 140 price in the main event, and that'll be really difficult to swing there too.
Exactly.
He went just to point that out. He went before the first break in the first main event. He went at pick 10, 12. So just like what's that, pick 147. So he went in the top 10 rounds in the first main event.
Sure, I can see it.
Sarah Anthony Dominguez, 11th round in the main event.
Yeah, I've seen some helium on him because he's actually been declared the closer.
Yeah,
I didn't include him for our exercise, but he's a fade at the 13.8% walk rate last year.
Yeah. Just because we're talking about Milwaukee guys, Megill was late 11 in the main event. Uribe was late 12, so kind of pretty much in the exact range. But I mean,
no, that's actually later than they were going earlier in draft season. So it's just the uncertainty has settled in.
Yeah, Brian Abreu went at the end of the 11th round, so obviously some people trying to protect Hader there. Robert Suarez, who doesn't even has the job. It sounds like it's Iglesias to start. He went in the 13th round. It's just, if you're gonna do it, I'm looking at Hader. He went in the 9th round. If you're gonna do it, it's tough. You're gonna have to invest some really high picks and get some saves this year.
Yep.
Anybody deep you like? I want to get to our fades here, but like, is there a late guy you're like? Is it someone in I almost said Oakland, Jeff. I almost said Oakland, Sacramento, Arizona. One of the Minnesota guys, Cole Sands, Taylor Rogers, Nationals guy, someone in Anaheim. Is there anybody? I just listed 6 or 8. There's probably like 8 to 10 spots where someone's going to take the role, maybe, and if they do, they'll be valuable. But there's a lot of really open spots.
I've taken my swings at guys like Swanson on St. Louis. Either like I have O'Brien in a keeper league and an only keeper league, so trying to cover some bases there. I took a shot at like Chris Martin once and Robert Garcia once. You're just you're throwing darts.
Yeah.
I have a couple Clayton Beeters. I have a couple Justin Sturners on the Athletics. I actually like his skills, but again, you have a manager that didn't even care who got the saves last year.
Did not care. I mean, they mixed in. Once Mason Miller was gone, they mixed and matched completely the rest of the way.
Yeah, and they're good enough that I think that they're going to win a decent number of games that they'll have saves. Yep. But I mean, the leader might have 10. That's the tough part. At least Sterner has some strikeout skills.
Yeah, I wonder if they lean back on a veteran kind of guy and go Mark Leiter Jr. But I genuinely have no idea what they do. I don't think they're going to set one guy either. I think you're right. I think it's going to be a mix and match situation.
Yep.
What about any other spots that you find someone that you like? And what about Anaheim? Do you find yourself with a Kirby Yates, a Robert Stevenson, Drew Pomerantz is there? He's 37. It's kind of crazy. Stevenson's 33, Pomerantz is 37, Kirby Yates is 39, and Jordan Romano's 33. They have a really old bullpen full of like kind of old school veterans. Brett Suter's there too.
Ben Joyce is still there too.
He is. Is he? I know he had the shoulder surgery for his labrum. Is he kind of like he's not back yet, right? It's gonna be little bit
right.
Start the season.
Plus, it's the whole Angels of it all, too. You know what? They deserve our scorn so much. I mean, they're definitely in the top 24 of worst owners in professional baseball, but
I can't be you at top 24. That's a nice thing anyone said about Artie Moreno.
It's just all these owners suck so bad. Everybody thinks they have the worst owner. It's great.
By the way, Jeff, I promise you, A's have the worst owner, so I win.
They're right up there. I mean, Artie is just
Artie hasn't taken the team to Temecula or something like that, though.
Give him he'll probably try to call them the Temecula Angels if that makes him more money.
They could set up right around Pachanga there. They could probably play in Temecula.
They are such a legendarily cheap franchise, though, for a team that plays in a major market. The Los Angeles Angels, the redundant team. If you're going to, they don't have a Spanish language broadcast in Orange County on a regular basis. I mean, they have one.
That seems impossible. That's crazy.
Yeah. Read all the good, like the archives of in the Athletic about just the takedowns of the Angels. It's story after story after story. They're just so bad.
I've heard some people kind of like Robert Stevenson mentioning the 30% K- walk last time he pitched, but that was 2023.
Right.
He's throwing his first live batting practice like this week. It's just, I mean, he's thrown 10 innings in 2 years. Like it's so hard to get behind that.
Yeah. Pure stat wise, Pomerantz was great, but he's lefty, and will they give him that role? Plus, you have a manager in Kurt Suzuki who A is new to the team and B is new at managing.
Yep.
So I don't know how they're going to handle that.
Yeah, it's going to be these first couple of weeks, like these first, whoever gets the first like 2 saves, someone gets the first 2 for a team. There's going to be some interesting fab periods because we may get some guys that get saves that aren't even drafted, especially in the 12 teamers. It could be pretty wild before these close situations kind of settle in.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's hit a few weekend news and notes. Not a lot to hit here, but I do want to get to our fades. Just a note, Ivan Herrera just didn't sound too great. Scratch Sunday with some knee inflammation. Herrera's an interesting one because he's at UT only to start the season. So if you want to get him, his price has been dropped a little bit because of that. But you hope he gets some eligibility here. But scratched knee inflammation in the start of March isn't too bad, but just one to watch for sure.
Well, when's he going to get that eligibility though? Too?
Yeah.
I mean, you're taking up a UT spot to start the season. They've got Pedro Pajes, Yoel Pozo. They also have 2 catching prospects in their organization. Rynel Rodriguez, who's be really good. Jimmy Crooks has already made the major league roster. He's not as good of a prospect, but he might be good defensively. And if you're what's really bad if you've got a sore knee? Catching.
Yes. Not
a good idea. So I don't know, man.
Especially your 2-hitter that you need in the lineup. Like their lineup is really rough right now. You're going to want, I assume he just gets a ton of DH appearances to start the year.
Yeah, I think so. And he's coming off of elbow surgery. So, elbows and knees, not good things to have problems with when you're a catcher. And I don't think he's that good a defensive catcher anyhow. There might be zero rush for them to have him at catcher. And that
elbows and knees, not a good thing to mess with when you're kind of a midlife person picking up tennis either, by the way.
Yeah, or really anything. But yeah.
I say that as someone coming off a bit of a knee injury, so I joke there. But Chandler Simpson, Jeff in Tampa, the one thing we want Chandler Simpson for is running and stealing bases. He's nursing a sore hamstring right now. That is not something I love for my guy that I want to steal 60 bases.
It's not the first time he's been nursing it either.
Yeah.
He's a full fade for me. He didn't make our list because he goes too late.
Right.
But yeah, he's definitely a full fade for me.
So good question in the chat, Jeff. Do you completely ignore when someone that is established, I'm going to call Agustin Ramirez established, when he's struggling so badly in spring training? I'll answer first. I pretty much do, unless it's someone like fighting for a job or kind of on the edges or a rookie or something like that. I usually pretty much ignore that.
So yes, unless it's like, it's how he struggled. Yeah. So 0 walks, 6 Ks is suboptimal. Heading into today. And that's only in the official major league games. That's only in 14 plate appearances. So it has my attention. The latest note is how he's working so much on his defense. And that's really the thing that has been a problem. He's committing himself. We had a note in early February saying he was committing himself to his defense. How much is that weighing on him? That's something I'm worried about.
Yeah, if we get to like 35 at bats and his strikeout rate's 40%, then maybe I take notice. But he was 19% strikeout guy last year and 585 player appearances in the majors. I'm going to lean really, really a lot heavier on that than anything I see in March. I mean, but yeah, if you get to the end of March and it's still rough, like maybe that starts to get his head. He has a slow start. You can start to think about that. But I'm not worried about it on March 8th. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, the thing is, there's a lot of there's a lot of good catchers in that range. So, I mean, there's the opportunity cost of taking August and Ramirez. I did so in the beat Jeff Erickson, I think. God, I have to write that league up a little bit there. It's just they're all blurring together at this point in time.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd be more concerned in a keeper league about this, about the position. That's the thing I worry about is, does he get to 20 games behind the plate this year? The Marlins have Joe Mack coming up at some point in time. That might be a factor that encourages them to keep Ramirez at DH. We'll see. I think he probably gets to his 20 before they call Joe Mack up, but it's definitely at least a little bit of a concern.
Yeah, fair enough. We've got all the hamate injury updates are coming in. Francisco Lindor is taking some swings. Jackson Holliday's nearing a return to BP. Corbin Carroll's taking live BP. Looks like maybe he's the furthest along. How much are you discounting these three guys at the moment? Let's talk about Carroll and Lindor, obviously the first and second round guys. Are you willing to kind of take them almost at cost at this point? It looks like they're progressing in a pretty normal way. Or are you worried about power being sapped these first couple months at all?
I'm still giving a little bit of a discount. And honestly, I haven't, after some early exposure to both, I haven't drafted them since then. But, because they're starting to creep back up. Also not drafting in the right spot.
True. You never had a Carroll come back in the middle second round when you've been drafting?
Maybe once.
Okay.
And Lindor has, but I've chosen others. In fact, one of those instances is where I already had L.A. De La Cruz. And I'm not going to take, it's not a Cardinal sin to go shortstop, but I'm unlikely to take two shortstops there.
Right.
Lindor is more kind of back end of the second round. And guess what? I've never been picking at the back end of the second round. So hard to know how I'd handle that there.
Just for some reference, Carroll 14th overall in the main event, first one. Lindor, round 3, selection 6.
Wow. So
he lingered.
I would take that discount.
Yeah, he definitely lingered in that. As we talk about all these closers getting pushed up, and he had 5 closers go before him. Someone's got to fall when all those closers move up. And it's just there's a lot of math in there, but Jeff, I know. But someone's got to fall when it happens. Other interesting thing, just because we're talking about that, Chris Sale and Brian Wu before Yamamoto in that main event.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have some stuff to say about Wu later on. So,
good tease right there.
Yeah, I know.
Christopher Sanchez 12th overall.
I believe that.
Yeah,
I believe it. Sanchez has been going ahead of Yamamoto more often recently. I actually took Yamamoto over Sanchez in yogurt, and I did pocket aces also from the 8th spot there.
I do remember that. Yeah, I'd go Yamamoto over Sanchez as well. That's kind of most of the notes. Last question I had for you. In Boston, Marcelo Meyer not guaranteed to make the opening day roster. I assume he's just kind of off draft boards for a while here and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is he didn't light it on fire. When he did get the call last year. So yeah, I'm who knows? I mean, the thing is, Romy Gonzalez isn't going to be ready for the start of the season and might actually have to have surgery too. So something to pay attention to as far as that goes. That's one less guy, but they have Christian Campbell. They have Caleb Durbin. They have
IKF too.
Yeah. They had like 8 guys for 2 spots. And it's been more than one occasion where Cora has said that Meyer has to earn that job. He's not guaranteed that job. He's gone out of his way to kind of say he doesn't have the job. That makes me think he's already decided he doesn't have the job.
Me too. And he's not staying there to start 2 or 3 times a week either. You're going to want him in the lineup every day. So I think AAA to start and just that's a tough one to hold and stash at the moment.
Agreed. You meant, we're going to just a quick flyby on Kyle Stowers. I am still worried about that hammy, especially because that, he missed so much time with a different muscle injury, the oblique, at the end of the year last year.
Yeah,
just worry about recovery time with him. I know updates have been positive so far.
Yeah, he's facing live pitching, but still not getting into games. But yeah, I agree. It's just you want to see it. We're not at the point yet where I'm super worried, but another week or so, and you start. I mean, the season what 16 opening night 16, 17 days away. Like it's I keep forgetting that it starts like March 24th or 25th, whatever that. 26.
It's a one game, Giants and the Yankees, and then the 27th for everybody else. If I've got that right, I think that's correct.
I knew there was Giants Yankees in there. I thought it was a day or two earlier.
They have the night game the night before, and it's just. Ugh, I hated when they used to do that. Remember, it used to be opening day was Monday, but then they did like a couple of Sunday night special TV games, and I did not care for that. But
Wednesday the 25th is Yankees
25th.
Giants.
Wednesday is a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
My date, yeah. So yeah. So one other note before we get into other this is this is really a tough time to keep your eye on the ball because we got the WBC. And I'll be honest, when if there's a WBC game on, I'm watching that over spring training. But I think the reporting is also harder to track. We have like some players that haven't played since Tuesday, like whatever, it's spring training, whatever. Hey, that now we're at 5-6 days. A pitcher misses a start, it's one start, whatever. Yeah. He's not in the WBC. I'll pay less attention to that too. Next thing you know, it's 2 weeks before a pitcher's made an outing, and especially if it's like a relief pitcher or a closer. You really have to be concerned. It's tough to keep your eye on the ball this time of year.
It really is. And you're right. The WC complicates that too. Seeing Manny's kid hit 2 bombs was kind of fun though.
Yeah, that is true.
There've been some good games. That Albie's walk-off was pretty sweet. There's been some fun games.
Oh yeah. And I love, don't get me wrong. I'm watching every WBC game I can, but spring training games themselves seem boring as a point of comparison. And yes, they are, but they are. You still have to pay attention to what happens in them. Agreed.
So let's get into talk about our fades for draft season this year. But first, a quick note from our sponsors at Fantrax. Fantrax is the most customizable fantasy platform in the industry, offering the greatest fantasy experience for your dynasty, keeper, redraft, and best ball leagues. Are you coming from another service? Fantrax makes that easy as well. They can import any of your current leagues and customize as needed. Jeff and I had a golf league that we transferred over this year, so we're proof there that Fantrax can do it all. They offer the most in-depth player pool in the industry, including minor league players. Do you need a customizable commissional service for your fantasy league? Fantrax offers more customization than any other platform. Waivers, categories, scoring system, schedule, whatever you want to do in your league, Fantrax offers custom solutions for all that and more, and it's all free. Sign up for free today. Simply go to fantrax.com/rotowire and sign up today. That's fantrax.com/rotowire. Fantrax, the home of fantasy sports. So, Jeff, let's do some fades. It's always a fun one. A couple of quick rules. We're going to shoot for guys that are in the top 150 ADP. I cheated that at one position. We can kind of cheat that at catcher if you want. I cheated that at second base just because there aren't a lot of guys. But we want guys that are popular, getting drafted. Nobody wants to fade somebody who's picked 250. I have a couple guys in the top 20 or 30, so I've got some interesting ones here. But let's start at catcher. Go behind the plate. Who do you find yourself not clicking on this draft season at catcher?
All right. So I like almost all the top 17. It's really weird, but I did come up with a couple here.
Okay.
I haven't rostered Yainer Diaz or Gabriel Moreno yet. I'm not really fading Moreno, but I am a little bit on Yainer Diaz. He sacrificed batting average for power last year. He's got the foot problem. And most importantly, I think the Astros offense is going to be disappointing yet again this year. And because of that, I think his counting stats are going to hurt a little bit. So because I like the top 17 plus Dylan Dingler, I'll find other alternatives in that range. I'm just not going to draft him into that spot.
Yeah, I actually like that too. I was a fade on him last year. He had 20 home runs, hit 256. I think the batting average was the problem last year. Everybody took him because he was going to be like, 15, 18, 20 home runs, but he's going to hit 280, 290. And when that guy hits 256, 20 home runs, like that's pretty replaceable at catcher with a lot of guys kind of down the list from him.
Yeah. It is. So that's kind of my fade. It's not even a harsh fade though. It's not like, so that's one for me. It's like, it's a fade, but it's not like, oh, I'm all the way out on him.
Right.
No, I'm not. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, Yainer Diaz.
Yeah, and of course, all these fades come with the note that this is for the draft price. So obviously, it's not guys that we don't think are good or anything like that, but where they're going in drafts. You got to make decisions. You got to pick guys. Mine is someone who's going about the middle of the early 5th round in 15 teamers. It's Hunter Goodman in Colorado. Really good breakout season last year. 31 bombs, 91 RBIs. Hard hit was good. Barrel's pretty good too. My big issue here, and it kind of as I'm picking between some of these catchers, is I'm like you. I like a lot of the top 17 as well. I just think the strikeouts are the issue. It's they dropped a little bit, but still 26.5%. Swinging strike rate was still 16.3%. So I think if anything, those Ks may actually jump up a little bit too. He's still swung and missed a lot. His StatCast page, a lot of highs and lows. Obviously, the hard contact's really high, but his expected batting average is 244. That's a 38th percentile. His K rate, walk rate, chase weight, whiff rate, all under 20th percentile. Like really low numbers there. The chase and the whiff are under 10th percentile. So I think he's a batting average risk. He plays in cores. That helps a lot. But I think he's just fully priced at an ADP of 64. I prefer other players in the range. And as I'm talking catcher, I'd rather take Drake Baldwin or Will Smith about 30 to 40 picks later. So I'll find myself not in on Hunter Goodman at pick 64.
He used to go like around later. He's had some upward creep too. That he's going. It used to be. You've got Raleigh at his own price. Then you had a tier of 3 catchers. You had Rice. You had Bangaliers, and you had Contreras. Goodman's joined that pack. He's moved up from the next grouping, and I preferred him better when he was in that next grouping. Yeah.
The interesting thing is that in the first main event that went off the other night, Baldwin and Will Smith actually kind of moved up towards him. He went Goodman picked like 79, so he went about a round later than normal. And Baldwin and Smith were in the same round, so maybe that's closing a little bit. But I go Baldwin and Smith over Goodman. I just think we're going to have some batting average issues with Goodman. I think the strikeouts are here to stay.
Fair.
So what about first base? Another key position here. A lot of really good hitters here, really good players at first base. Always. Who do you find yourself not clicking the button on at first base?
Yeah, so this one's, there are so many first basemen at so many different price points that I like. So I think if there's if you have any remote concern about any individual one, it's an easy pass for me.
Yeah.
And so to that end, it's Rafael Devers.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong about this one here because I know he ended up with a decent stat line power-wise after the trade, but I worry about the ballpark, and his batting average was 230 with the Giants. So do I really want to make that trade-off to try to chase left-handed power in Oracle Park? I don't. The Giants offense is better than it was last year, so the counting stats should probably be okay. It's not a hard pass, but when you consider all that's available out there at pick 58, I'll take the other, I'll take Freddie Freeman instead of Devers at price, especially now that Devers is dealing with that hamstring issue. I know he's making progress. He might not even miss any time, but just enough for me to have that little tickle of a worry. I'll go elsewhere. I'll get my first baseman either at some other point in time.
Yeah, and I think the ballpark's a really good point there. I mean, not the same player, but we had all those years of Brandon Belt, like where he's going to break out as a lefty in whatever they call it these days, AT&T, Oracle, I think. It's just it's tough. You're right. He hit 236 with the Giants. He did hit a bunch of home runs with them, but I think that I'm probably on board there. I like the amount of hard contact with Devers, but I think I'm on board. Not someone I'm reaching for by any means.
Yeah, exactly.
My guy is in the exact same range as yours. Actually, the next first baseman down. It's Josh Naylor in Seattle. I know the year last year was great. The home runs were actually down last year. He went from he was like 31-108, dropped to 20-92. But it was the stolen bases made him a fantasy star last year. We have 30 stolen bases. He had 25 in his whole career prior to that. Sprint speed on Baseball Savant is 3rd percentile. I know he's smart. He picks the right times to run, but I just don't know how many of those stolen bases are coming back. And if the power in Seattle, tough place to hit. Like you mentioned with Devers in San Francisco, tough ballpark to hit in. StatCast page is not great aside from the expected batting average and the K rate. He's a really good strikeout guy. He's elite there, 13.7%. But everything's kind of average. The barrels average, the hard hits average, the exit velos average. Like I said, tough home park. I don't think he's going to be a bust by any means, but at pick 65, I find myself liking other first basemen there. I'd take Freeman instead of him as well. I just don't love a guy hitting Seattle. We've had a couple of bad experiences there with guys in full years in Seattle. So I think I'm off Naylor. And, if the stolen bases drop to 12, which I think is pretty possible, I don't think he earns that price.
Right. As Uncle Ted points out, it was a contract year for Naylor. And you see that with stolen bases. Compare Willy Adames 2024 versus Willy Adames last year. Adames had a fine last couple of months, and I'm actually in on Adames at cost because I think he's appropriately discounted this year, but I get it. The one good thing about Naylor with Seattle is he ran more in Seattle and he hit for a higher average. The average seems like that's something sustainable. Good batting eye.
I do too. I agree there.
So I do think there's something good there. But yeah, I think the power numbers are a concern. And, if he hits 20 homers and only has 10 stolen bases or 8 stolen bases, is he worth that price? So
I know you're going to find guys 100 picks later that go 2012. Granted, the batting average will be better, and I do like the strikeout rate, but I just think everything else is so much this kind of average and middling. I just I can't find myself clicking at that point. There's just too many guys in that range I like.
Yeah.
Since we're talking first base, real quick, some asked the chat. Where's Jeff on Sal Stewart?
I get mad that every time I get sniped on him, I got to push him higher. That's my only failing. Well, that's not my only feeling. It's my only feeling on Sal Stewart. I need to have a higher rating. My concern is slightly on playing time, but the way he's raking, the way his exit velocity was 95.4 miles an hour in a small sample last year. Excuse me. Spoiler. That's really, excuse me again. Spoiler. That's really good.
Yeah.
It's all green on the RotoWire page, red on Savant, whatever is good. That's what it is with his batted ball stuff. Walks and strikeouts could be better. Defense might be a little bit better, but the fact is he lost weight in the offseason. He's playing all over the place. They want to get that bat in the lineup. I'm pretty convinced about that. I'm still annoyed at Tito for not starting Stewart in game 2 of that game against the Dodgers in the playoffs. But
is that the one you went to?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
where the Reds left the bases loaded, nobody out, and scored I think 1 run in both of the combined in those instances there. So yeah, I'm a little annoyed at that.
Nice to see our friend Justin Mason in the chat. Good to see you, Justin. We appreciate that. Appreciate the comment there. We appreciate the TGFBI draft going on right now. Jeff, let's move over to second base. This was what I had the hardest time with. There's so few second basemen in the top 250. So I cheated a little bit. There's only 7 in the top 150, and then there's a couple. It was one after that, and then a couple in the top 200. It's a tough position this year. There are not a lot of high end guys. There's only 2 guys in the top 50. Then Bryce Terang is 52nd, and nobody else in the top 100. There's 3 second basemen in the top 100 this year, and one of them is Jazz Chisholm, who's also a third baseman. But it's an interesting year at second base. Who do you find yourself not taking this season?
So it's Jose Altuve. I'm just one of these years we're going to be right, and he's going to fall off. It hasn't happened yet, but I mean, there's just little instances there. He's running just a little bit less. He's doing a little, little things here and there. I also, and I haven't been reaching for the, Terang, the top 100 guys that much. But yeah, more often than not, I'm waiting. I did one league with Kettle Marte. I think it was the OC I did, where I got Marte in the 3rd, and I'm fine with that build, but I think I'm comfortable just waiting. There's a lot of guys that are quasi targets that I can get later.
Yeah, I agree. Someone in the chat mentioned Marcus Semien as a fade. He does not qualify because that's the top 150, but I actually agree. I don't like Marcus Semien this year as well either. That's someone who loves Marcus Semien as a player.
So
yeah, he's way out of this range. But I cheated a couple of picks on mine. My apologies there. But mine's Ozzie Albies at pick 158. I kind of thought as I started to look at this that that sounds really late for him, but I really don't like what I see from Albies when I look deeper. It's just everything's kind of his stats page is really rough. He's got the whiffs and the strikeouts are good, but that's really it. His X metrics are really bad. His exit velocity, barrel, hard hit rate, all under 20th percentile. Not just kind of middling, but really bad. Hard hit rate dropped to 30.7% last year. Barrel fell under 5%. He had 16 home runs last year, and stole 14. So he did put up some stats, but that was 667 plate appearances. He's been a guy who just gets a ton of plate appearances, and that's where he gets his value. But man, I don't even think the 16 home runs can repeat with what I've seen from all his stuff on all his hitting metrics. His OBP was 306. He was kind of a bad real player last year too. The price has adjusted a little bit. He's now up, pick 158, second baseman under 8. So he's not where he used to be, but even there, you're talking that's the 11th round, 10th, 11th round in a 15-teamer. I find myself with many, many other players I'd rather take. So I'm off of Albies this year. You're betting on a ton of volume if you do it, and I get it. If he plays 160 games, it probably ends up working. He's not going to hurt you at that price, but man, if he misses a few or anything happens there, I just don't like the hitting profile at all with Albies right now.
Yeah, and to get you out of the cheating zone in the last 8 days. Since the start of March, it's 149. So
I'm taking back everything. I am not a cheater anymore.
Yeah, you're a winner, not a cheater.
I'm a winner. I like it.
I'm almost waiting until after 200 all the time at second base. So that's also kind of wiping out Albies, Lau, Xavier Edwards. I like Bryson Stott and Matt McClain, so I won't say that. But I'm not drafting Jackson Holiday because I don't know how quickly he's going to be ready. And there's enough concerns about his skills in addition to the recovery from the hamate bone that I'm like, I'll go elsewhere. We started to see some creep on some of these ADPs on these mid-tier second baseman because I think people are realizing, I got to get one here. But I'm finding I like some of these guys in the 200s. Caballero sometimes is there. Polanco's usually there. I'm fine with that. Luis Garcia later is fine. I'll just, I don't even have to have a top 15 second baseman necessarily.
Yeah, I'm in on a Jorge Polanco at that price. I think we talked about it in a couple of weeks. I really like him at that price. He's about 215, kind of going the 14, 15, 16 round in there. I'm willing to kind of grab him there as well. But I agree with you. I think that there's some guys in the top 200 that they'll take a stab at. I'm okay with Brendan Lau, but I don't. It's hard to find a second baseman you really like. I like Ceddanne Rafaela. He's pick 131. I do think that we may see a breakout there, but there's not a lot of second basemen. Justin Mason mentioned in the chat, Luke Keyshaw, doesn't think he'd be going top 50 if he wasn't a second baseman. I agree there. I was a little surprised by that price.
Yeah. I'm not surprised because the stolen bases were there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I think there is enough attendant hype. I think the prospect gurus still love him. That I think Keyshaw will, there's a reason for his helium. He's healthy now. He wasn't healthy last year. That's the thing. He barely got that second base eligibility too, which is the funny thing. But yeah, I haven't been clicking on him then either. But at the same time, I like him. I've got him in a keeper league or two, and that's what I have enough exposure to him that I'm not going out of my way to get him now.
Yeah, I think that's I agree there. He's going to have to run because I don't think you're going to get a lot of pop from them. He had 4 home runs and 207 plate appearances last year, 31% hard hit rate. Doesn't really think that a lot of power is coming. Obviously he's still only 23 and he could grow into that a little bit. But yeah, he's going to need to run. But that profile's there. You get some. You're going for batting average and stolen base. You take him.
Yep, exactly.
Let's move over to the hot corner, third base. I'm going to let you go first here, Jeff, because I think I'm going to upset you with my fade.
You might not. Upset me because I think we may have similar ones there.
We have not matched yet. We did not share anything beforehand, just to let everybody know. So if we match, it's a coincidence.
Yeah. So I'm debating between not one but 2 reds, dude.
I do have a red. That's obviously what I was referring to when I said that. But
our reds.
Well, give me. I pick the one I didn't pick.
So I chose Noelvi Marte as my fade.
So did I.
But I think you can make a case against Suarez too because of the ridiculous strikeout percentage that he had last year. I'm very concerned about that. But let's first talk a little bit about Eugenio Suarez and because there's a duality here. I am happy that the Reds signed him.
Yep.
I don't think you can go bad on a 1-year deal. I think the cost was fine. I don't care if they make any money or not. They needed power. They're going to get that. I don't think he provides any defensive value, but I don't really care because they have a defensive first, third baseman anyhow. But, and there's always a but, the strikeouts, man. Yeah. They are prolific. It was worse with Seattle, obviously, but combined between Arizona and Seattle, 66.7% contact rate, almost 30% K percentage. Cincinnati will help a little bit. The fact that it doesn't have to play in that godforsaken park in Seattle. It's a beautiful ballpark.
Beautiful park. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been there. I like it. I liked being there. Apparently you don't want to hit there though. But it's just, he just strikes out so much. And I think he totally killed. And it's just another year where I think the strikeouts are going to be there a little bit even more. Even this spring, it's 33% strikeout percentage, 61.5% contact rate. He's still missing. But Noelvi Marte, let's get to the meat of the order here because you and I both have the same guy. So this is our first of those. I think there's a risk of him losing playing time. I have that in my write-up. How I said how long is his leash in my write-up. I was going to ask you how long the leash is. He's the other guy that didn't start a playoff game. He sat out good chunks of games in September. Tito does not give long leashes to young players. He just doesn't.
Did he play center field in the game we went to? Is that right?
That was in the regular season. Yes.
Regular season,
because it was a Kershaw start. So they wanted to get all the right-handed bats in the lineup there. And the only way they could do that was by putting Marte in center.
That's right.
They should have just left Friedel alone in center. The problem was they took Kershaw out and didn't immediately switch Marte over to right field again. They had already taken Kershaw out. Why are you? Yeah, it didn't. And then Marte boxed a challenging fly ball, but a normal center fielder catches it. He did make the catch of the Reds year in the regular season finale again, or not the finale, but the home finale for the regular season.
Remember that
they robbed the Brewers of a home run to save a game. But he also he struggled in September. I want to manifest him. I want him to do really well. I just, there's not as much there as I would have thought there was for someone I was so excited about at one point in time. Last year he had a 300 on base, a 448 slug. It's okay. It's, but I need him either to run a little bit more or hit for a little bit more power before I get super excited about him. The Reds are severely right-handed too. So if anybody loses time to like a left-handed outfielder, it's probably going to be Marte. If they really want to bring in JJ Bleday or Will Benson and get him some at-bats, it's going to be at Marte's expense, I fear.
Yeah, I think that the point you made was good. You said you wanted to manifest it as a Reds fan. I think that anybody's drafting him at this price is kind of manifesting that. 140 seems really high to me. I know he's obviously a pedigree. He was a huge prospect. They got him from the Mariners in that trade, but he doesn't walk at all. I mean, the 300 OBP, the stat catch page is rough. There's nothing on offense above the 50th percentile. On the entire offensive metrics, there's nothing above 50th percentile, which is you don't get very often. You usually get someone who does something well. Hard hit rate's like 21st percentile. Even with that, he has the blowout. The strikeout rate is 23.5%. It was 31% in 2024. So he did take some steps there, but and he swung and missed less. But I just don't know. I feel like you're going to get 15 with an okay batting average. I just don't think that's worth it at the price. And you're right. I think he has to hit more home runs or steal more bases. I just think he should be going about 50 picks later.
Yeah, I think so too. And I wish we had Suarez at Suarez's price last year, not at his current price. So
agreed.
Both of those are kind of in that boat. A couple comments here. A couple guys mentioned in the comments, Murakami barely fits out of our purview. He's pick 202. If we were doing pick 200, it would be fine. But actually, no, we did top 150. But
yeah, and that would also not be a fade. Oh, Murakami. I was thinking.
Komodo this is fine. Yeah, but Murakami's a little scary because of the Ks.
A few strikeouts, hard contact, but a few strikeouts.
28% K rate in Japan equals like 35 in the numbers. So yeah, that's a total scare. What do you think about Alex Bregman in Wrigley, considering he's played his whole career in two of the best pole-aired parks in Boston and Houston before that?
Yeah, he was always frustrating to me because we get the big power guys, and he would always have a lower hard hit rate, less barrel rate, but he just pulled those balls down the line. I'd be worried. I mean, last year was 18 home runs and 500 plate appearances, 270. I just feel like he's kind of in that zone where I think he's going to hit 265 with 23 home runs, and it's hard for me to get super excited about that.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's just been consistently in that zone. I'm looking at the last 4 years, he's kind of been in that range, probably an average of about 22 home runs, an average of about 265, just kind of who he is. And I feel like he has this, that 2019 41-112 in everybody's head. And I don't think he's that guy.
Yeah.
Now it was 2019 was Happy Fun Ball, right?
Right. Yeah. I think Bregman can still be useful at cost though. So I didn't list him as a fade because I think his spot in the lineup's good. It's a good lineup he'll be in. He'll hit for average. And he kind of represents the last hope before you get a drop off at the position. So
yeah,
I won't push him up, but I will take him at cost though.
Yeah, I just find myself right at his cost. There's about 8 or 10 pitchers I like, and I find myself needing a pitcher there in that 6th, 7th turn right in there. I just find myself not really clicking on Bregman.
Yeah, and I noticed Isaac Paredes comp. Bregman's a better pure hitter than Paredes. Paredes is got that pulled air power as his one skill. Is the way I look at it. Maybe there's others, but Bregman's a more complete player.
Let's move over to shortstop. I'm going to upset everybody with mine. It's not someone I don't like.
Go first this time.
All right. Well, I'm going to upset everybody. I'm not taking Zach Neto in the second round. His ADP is 27. Everybody loves Zach Neto, and I do get it. He was really good last year, 26. I just think there's enough small holes here for me to not take. His second round is a really valuable pick. He had a big bump up his hard hit rate, like that a lot. Barrel rate went way up, but I think he sold out for power. He had a 27% strikeout rate last year. Walk rate went down to 6%. I think there's some batting average risk here. Batted was 312 last year, allowed him at 257. I think that's probably the ceiling right now for he's going to keep selling out for the power. I think the power and speed will be there. I think he'll be really good. I just think the batting average is a risk. I think the K rate's scary for the second round price. His ADP is 27. Everybody loves him. I like him, just not in the second round. I will not be taking him in the second round. More of an end of third, early fourth round guy for me. OBP was still 319. I don't know. I'm not, I like the player. I don't like the price.
I think that's fine. I found myself upset that I haven't gotten him so far, but he's also creeping up. I in one league I did come close. He went to pick 36 or 37. I was sitting at 38, of course, so I didn't get him. Again, I think he's fine on the turn, but I understand why I resist further helium. I get that too.
And I think the K's are here to stay. You look at StatCast. The whiff rate was 22nd percentile. Chase rate's 35th percentile. The K's were obviously below at 12th percentile. He doesn't walk either 22nd percentile. I think he's going to strike out a lot. I think he clearly made a change. You see the big jump up in barrel and hard hit. We like that. I just wouldn't be shocked if it's like 243 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, at least the Angels are going to get the most. Oh, sorry, I can't even.
Can't even do it.
Sorry. All right. Yeah. Sorry. Not really sorry, but
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, I guess if he'd lead off behind Shinwell and Trout as long as he plays, but like the team context is not fantastic here either.
Yeah. It's always the team context there. It scares me, and that leads into my fade, which is CJ Abrams. And
I had him as my if Jeff took Neto, who I was going to take next.
Yeah, I just think this is all there is to CJ Abrams. I don't think the batting average is ever going to get a whole lot better. What he did last year is fine. 19 homers, 31 stolen bases. You're paying pick 62. That's actually a reasonable price. So it's not even like a total fade, but I think there's other players in that range I like a little bit better. So that's kind of the way I've been going with that there. But I also again, team context here. He's not going to score as many runs as comparable players because the Nats are going to be pretty bad. I mean, the fact that James Wood struggled so much down the stretch has me concerned too. New management, which means probably new coaching. Maybe they can squeeze more skill out of their young players. I need to see proof of concept though before I pay into that.
Yeah, I get it from a fantasy angle. I get he puts up those numbers. I have trouble in the 5th round taking someone who I don't think is a very good hitter. Yeah.
XBA was 245. X slug was 401. Average exit velocity 88.7. The sprint speed hasn't. It's good, but it's not elite either.
Yeah. And the StatCast palette's not everything, but he doesn't have a red mark on his page.
No.
Maybe. Aside from sprint speed, which you mentioned, and base running stuff. But in the hitting, nothing's above 55th percentile. He's at pick 65. He's got to steal 30 to 35 bases to work, and he might do that. He's done that he had 31 each of the last years before I don't think the 47's coming back, but team context matters. The guy you need to score a bunch of runs. So he had 92 last year, but only 60 RBI. He's got to hit that batting average, steals, and runs for it to work at the price.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's move to the outfield. I have another one that's going to upset people with a hot take here. I have a top 20 guy on my list here, but I'm going to let you go first here. Who are you taking? Who are you not taking in the outfield?
All right. I like it when you upset people, but
I do. I try.
I'm not taking PCA.
Yeah.
I took him in like the Yahoo Friends and Family 1 month into the season draft that we did. I took him and James Wood. You were in that draft too, also. That worked out well, swimmingly. But it's really about the command of the strike zone. It's just not there, and it got worse over time. And so that's something. Yeah, Alex Bregman's going to teach him to not swing. I've heard that a little bit there. I have a lot of Cubs too that I do like, and dude was 30-30, so I could be completely off my rocker here, but it was 533 OPS in the last 50 games. He only had 6 stolen bases in that stretch, so almost all of his production was in the first 4 months of the season. I think he got found out a little bit. I know he played a little hurt too, but we'll see.
There was someone, I forget who it was I mentioned last week that I thought was really hard. It was probably Roki Sasaki. I thought it was impossible to project. I think PCA among like the top 50 guys is almost impossible. Like he was unbelievable the first 1 month and just truly awful the last couple of months. Like I just have no idea what we're going to get. I mean, it ended up hitting 247, 24% strikeout rate, 31 bombs, 35 RBI or 35 stolen bases. The barrel is good. Everything was good, but it's just, how real, like if you mentioned that, did he get figured out? Like that's a very real possibility. He's gonna have to adjust back, and it's not easy to do. I find him almost impossible. In the first main event, he went pick 34. I think I would be taking someone else there.
That's kind of where I'm at. PJ says, let's fade all the 30-30 guys.
Oh, I'm about to fade another one. Don't worry.
Yeah, but okay. So is he firmly minted as this? Is this who he really is? If we're playing Stratomatic and I get his stats from last year for the whole year, okay, great. But that's not how this works.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that he was a 33 guy last year. I don't think I don't have a good feel whether he's a 33 guy before. I don't know. I'm not saying he's not. I just don't have a good feel at all if he is.
Yeah, I don't either. Very tough guy to project, like you said.
Very tough.
Exit velocity is 89.5. That's above average, but not great. It's average is like 89. So it wasn't like he was off the charts. Sprint speed is obviously off the charts. So that part is really No, it's above average. It's not. It's good even. It's better than above average, but it's not like off the charts above average either, especially for the position. So, yeah, I'm just not paying cost for him.
So my first outfield fade is really high up, and he's getting drafted like someone who went 30-30, Jeff, but didn't. He went 21-21, and it's pick 22. It's Jackson Chourio. I just think he is. I think he is just a step behind the Julio, Tatis, Tucker, Carroll group of outfielders, whereas they're kind of all in that same, 13 to 20 range. And I think the Chourio is a step behind them in terms of where he's at right now. Again, he's 22. He could be great. He probably will be great at some point. I just think it takes a leap of faith right now, and that's not what I'm willing to do at whatever it is, pick 19. I think it's 20. I think he's like ADP 19. His StatCast page is pretty ugly. Again, I know that's not everything, but like he's only hitting metric over the 60th percentile as his bat speed, which is important, but like nothing else is up there. It's a lot of blue. When you look at guys in this range, you get guys that are all great at everything. Like you're taking someone at pick 19, they're great at everything. They're really good across the board. Chourio has the sprint speed. Obviously, he's really fast. 93rd percentile sprint speed. But you look at like his chase rate was 8th percentile. His walk rate was 12th percentile. XBA was only 247, 46th percentile. He upped the fly balls a little bit. So it's probably good for his home runs going forward. The barrel was up a little bit from his 2024 season, but the hard hit rate was down. I think we're a couple years away from Chourio being as good as he's going to be. I love him as a player. I love watching him. I don't think he's worth a pick 19 right now. He'd be a late second round, early third round for me, not late first, early second.
Yeah, the fact that he suffered the hand injury this past week, missed out on a couple of WBC games is a bit of a bummer. Also, he's not going to get as many spring training at bats because I really do want to watch like the batting eye stats for him. 3 walks, 3 Ks so far in 21 plate appearances in spring training. Meaningless sample, but
yeah,
turns 22 in March 11th. So for
sure. Again, not drafting a keeper league, drafting for one season. Pick 19. I need to feel better about what I'm getting than Chourio. I would take a lot of guys right after him, and I would definitely take all of that clump of outfielders ahead of him.
Interesting. I probably would. Yeah. Well, all those almost always are going ahead of him, though. That's the other thing. So you're kind of at, I think you're kind of at a dilemma here because like Tatis is almost always going ahead of Chourio. I may have made that wrong choice last year. But I would take Tatis. I would take Carroll over him. So it's really Chourio, and then the next outfielder is PCA and James Wood.
Yeah, it's a big drop there. He's like he's the end of that tier, and there's nobody else for a while.
So you're really going to be taking another position there, is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be taking a shortstop. You're going to be taking Pete Alonso instead, or you'll take a pitcher there instead.
Yeah. Our friend Dave McDonald said Chourio is one of his biggest targets in the second round, and growth comes quickly. I agree, growth comes quickly. I just think he's been getting drafted like the growth's already there. I think that we may get it, and he may be great, but I don't think the growth's there yet. I just think he's overpriced. I think that he's going to be good. I think he's going to be solid. I just don't think he's going to earn that price.
Yeah. And by the way, some people are commenting on your fades. I mean, you're not fading Jake Mangum here. I mean, that's the whole point. We're trying to give you, something that's a little bit more actionable.
You're in the second, third round. You got to make some decisions, and you got to figure out who you don't want to take too at that price. Yeah, so it's
Jake Mangum taking strays here, but
seriously, poor Jake Mangum. Let's see. My other outfielder hurts my soul to the core. It was really even painful for me to write it up.
Tired, dude. Oh wait,
painful for me to write it and say it, but. My other outfield faded, pick 129 is our friend, listener of the podcast, Teoscar Hernandez. I love Teo. We know I love him. He's won me a number of leagues, but I'm worried about the drop-off from 2025. He only hit 247. The home runs dropped to 25. The stolen bases dropped to 5. I think those might be gone. There's 550 plate appearances, so he played a lot. Hard hit rate's still good, but his barrel rate fell to 11.5%, lowest since his 41-game rookie season. We always loved him because of the loud, hard contact, how athletic he was. He could steal bases. Walk rate crashed 8% to 4.8%. OBP was 284. Like, that's tough in real baseball. The Dodgers have a lot of options. Like, I just wonder if his ABP is 284 as we get in the middle of the summer. That's a problem. That he might start to lose some at bats to some of these guys. His usual StatCast metrics are always red. He's always a toolsy guy. Those fell off. The barrel rate's the highest thing he has is 72nd percentile. The whiff and walk rates are under 10th percentile. He's 33 now. I don't think the stolen bases are coming back. It's very sad for me to say, but at pick 129, I'm a pass on Teoscar.
Yeah. I get it. I absolutely get it there. I think he's dropped already. I think some of that has been priced in, but I do get why. I think this might be the last year he's in Dodger blue. I think you look at their farm system, they're loaded with outfield prospects. So he gets replaced on defense a lot. Yeah, this is definitely one I could see that there. Yeah, Eric Halterman did a podcast earlier where he's talking about players that were maybe ranked too high because their WAR is under 2. That they're not providing real life value. And Teo was mentioned in that one too. Hurtful, very hurtful. But
it is hurtful. I love the player, just don't love the price this year. Some people in the chat are surprised with fading young guys that are 30-30. I promise you, I got Teoscar. He's an older guy, so I got some mix and match here. And again, fading guys at the price, not their future prospects or what we like them as a player. Just the price. But who's another outfielder for you, Jeff? You're not taking this year.
Oh, the crowd's going to hate this one too.
Oh, nice.
O'Neal Cruz. The new and improved O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah.
He's walking more. He's slicing. He's dicing. He even takes walks. He's taken 2 walks in 27, in 15 plate appearances. I need to see it. I need to see it. Yeah. I'm fully out in anything in the top 100 on O'Neal Cruz because he could hit 200 and just absolutely murder, death, kill your batting average. And I know he went 20-38 last year.
Yeah.
He also only scored 62 runs. He only had 61 RBI with that. The team context will be better. I think they will score more runs, but he gets benched for not running out ground balls at times. Maybe at age 27, he finds a new professionalism that he hasn't displayed before, but I'm not in on him.
Yeah, I would love to refute this one because he's obviously such a skilled, fun guy to watch. But man, he had 200 last year and 540 plate appearances. That just kills you. And I know the 20-38 as well, as you mentioned, but the strikeout rate's going up is the problem. It was 30.2% in 2024. He was 32% last year. I know the walks went up, so he's getting better there. But man, 30% strikeout rate is it's almost impossible not to be a batting average drain unless he cuts that a significant amount.
Yep. I also have a cheater one. I'll just throw it in there and we can move on. But my cheater one is Lawrence Butler at 153. This is hurtful also, but it's twofold. It's one of just the swing and miss and all that good stuff, what he actually did on the field. The health.
Yeah.
He hasn't played a spring training game yet. They've been noticeably silent about his health status.
And they're doing like it was planned. We knew it was coming thing, but man, I'm a little bit worried about that too.
Yeah. I'll just, at pick 153, that's still too early for me to say, yeah, okay, it's fine. I'm getting a discount. No, you're not getting enough of a discount in my opinion.
What's interesting with him is that what we liked last year is he cut the strikeout rate from 2023 to 2024, and that's when he had the breakout year. I know he only had 42 games, but he really cut it down. He went back up last year. He was 20.5% last year. It's going to be that's going to be tough, and they have a lot of kind of options too. I don't know if he might sit versus some lefties. It's going to be interesting to see what they do lineup wise, but yeah, I'd love to be in on Butler too, but I don't think I am.
Yeah.
Let's move to the mound. We're going a little bit long here, but this is always a fun one.
It doesn't even feel long, by the way.
It doesn't. I love it. This is my favorite one. Why don't you give me a pitcher in the top 150? We're going to do 2 of these as well, but give me your first one.
All right. Also hurtful. This is an ace, guys. I like. Sorry. I don't know if you heard that. Ad started auto playing in my ear. I don't know if there's.
I did. I didn't hear it.
All right, so I got distracted by it. Maybe it's such a momentously bad fade that they're trying to distract me, prevent me from doing that.
Love it.
Brian Wu did not have surgery last year.
Oh, this is going to hurt my heart.
He has not had surgery yet. I firmly believe this is one of these guys that is just a ticking time bomb, and he's so freaking good, Scott. It kills me. He is so good of a pitcher.
So good.
But if you go straight number scouting, great. I took Chris Sale over him, and I know that sounds hypocritical. Chris Sale got hurt diving for a bunt, and he hurt his rib. It's different.
Yeah.
I know he's had arm problems in the past, but I'm not as worried about that. But honestly, Seattle guys as a whole. Logan Gilbert's a ticking time bomb. I think he missed time last year. Bryce Miller is already hurt this year. I have significant concerns about the Seattle starting pitching staff as a whole. I want to love Brian Wu. I do love Brian Wu. I hope I'm really wrong about this, but I'm staying away.
Yeah, I get it. I do worry about. I love the pitcher. I love watching him pitch. He's one of those guys I just love. He's just so crafty. But I'm worried about the hard contact going up last year. It went from 33% to 35% to 8.8% last year. Had home run issues, 1.25 home runs per 9. Bail rate went almost doubled, 4.8% to 9.1%. I'm a little worried about the hard contact. And then you piece that together with the injury, just like you said, taking time bomb. Maybe it's this year, maybe it's not, but it's coming at some point. I love the pitcher, and I tend to agree though.
Yeah, and Uncle Ted didn't we make a playoff start? Yeah, he was okay. He was okay. He wasn't great in the playoffs, but it doesn't mean he's out of the woods just because he came back. I just think that there's more of this coming down the line. I hope I'm wrong, but in the third round as my ace, yeah, I'll go elsewhere.
So my first fade is also an ace. I'm going with someone up at the top here. Pick 48. I am not in on Jacob deGrom this year.
That's on my list too, dude.
There you go. I like when we agree on. That's good. But he was great last year. Obviously, the innings were, I think, surprising to everybody. He hadn't thrown 100 innings since when it was. He had thrown 100 innings since 2019. He threw 172 last year, 297.92. I'm just a little bit worried about some of the minor skilled slippage at 37. K rate was still really good. It was 27%, but it was down 4% from the year before. Down, a lot, even more than that, like 15% from a couple of years before that. But always kind of in that 30s and 40s. So a little bit there, still really good. Swing strike is still really good at 14%. BABIP really helped him last year. He's 230 BABIP guy last year. His FIP was 3.64. So I think mid threes is probably where he probably should have landed. Ground ball rates down. He used to be a mid 40s guy in his prime. Now he's kind of a high 30s guy there. Statcast page still has a lot of red. There's still a lot of good there. I'm not disputing that, but the hard contact stuff is a little concerning to me. 42% hard hit rate, 9% barrel rate. So you got more hard contact, a few less strikeouts, and then you get the fact that he's still someone that I worry about him pitching a whole season. 172 innings after 10 in 2024, 30 in 2023. I worry about that. So I take the injury risk plus the skill slippage, and I'm going to find other pitchers to take in the range.
See, the thing is, early on they were managing his innings, they were managing his velocity. These were good things, and I like that. So you don't really want to look at the average fastball velocity for the whole season, but his velocity actually tailed off in the last 2 months. Also, the home run rate spiked in the last 2 months. Also,
yep.
That's the part that gets me concerned. And that's what I'm a little worried about. It's just the declining, efficiency in some certain areas there. Overall numbers are still really good. I could be hella wrong about this one here because I want him to be good. I want to be wrong on this one here, but I'm just worried about those last couple months. But
Dave asked in the chat, what's the injury risk? I just think 37 and off 172 innings after not throwing innings for 2 years just makes him a little bit of injuries, and just the age for me more than anything. It's just
right.
And I just think the skill slippage plus the age plus the draft price is he's going in the middle of the fourth round. I'm going to take other pitchers there. I'm going to take other hitters there. Just not someone I'm going to find myself clicking. I'd take Fried and Freddie Peralta instead.
Thank you. I was just going to ask you what's your example. And for me, it is also Fried that I would take instead.
I would probably, since we're talking Seattle pitch, I'd probably take George Kirby as well.
Yeah. Some good signs in Kirby so far. So I also had DeGrom on my list, but good news is I had a backup pick.
Nice. Who's the backup?
Joe Ryan. Again. It's kind of a cheat because he's already had the back thing a little bit, but it's not just that. He missed time too last year. And this is one of those, hasn't had surgery yet. Simpson's meme here going on there. I think bad times are going to come. I think the team context is horrific. I think the Twins are going to be terrible. Yeah, maybe him getting traded is a good thing and that'll help, but I don't think they're very good at the Meds. I think that they can. They're still a concern for me there. So give me other players in that range. Probably not even a pitcher in that range. I'm probably taking a hitter in that range.
Yeah, I think I agree there. I like Joe Ryan too. Another guy that I like watching pitch, but the home runs are an issue always, but I like watching him pitch. But it feels like a ticking time bomb as well. Someone in the chat mentioned after the top 3 pitchers, everybody has red flags. I get it. They're pitchers. They're going to have issues, but we got to still figure out which ones we want to pick and don't want to pick. My other one, I got another Dodger to go with Teoscar. I'm not taking Tyler Glasnow at the price. I know the price has dropped, but it's pick 120, and it's kind of similar to what I had with DeGrom. I'm worried a little about the skills slippage. His walks jumped significantly last year. He only threw 90 innings. The walks jumped 5% to 11.7%. Back to his numbers like when he was with Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay at the start. He had a double-digit walk rate. So I'm a little bit worried there. Swing strike rate crashed too, 14% to 11%. So it just, you're always going to get the innings concerns with Glasnow. He threw 90 last year, 134. He's never thrown over 134. So you take the innings concern, and then I think there's some skill slippage, kind of what we mentioned with DeGrom. Obviously not the same age. He's 32, but I'm a little worried. Less swing and miss, more walks, also the injury risk. The StatCast page is good. He'll probably be pretty good when he pitches, but I think he's always going to miss starts. The Dodgers are going to be super cautious with him. I think there's enough here that at pick 120, it's still an 8th, 9th round turn. I'm not taking Glasnow this year.
Okay, I can see it. You can make a case almost against any Dodger. That's the funny thing, but I'm I'm out on Snell now, but that's almost like a layup. So I don't even feel like I should be taking that one there. I'm out on Hunter Green, although don't even look at the ADP for Hunter Green, because unless you just do the last 2 days or 3 days on that, he has a max pick of now 304 in the last week. So that kind of that's probably a cut line, I'm sure, but still.
Blake Snell ended the 11th round in the first main event, by the way. So that's where the price was last night in the first main event.
Yeah. Tyler Glasnow 129.7 in the last 8 days. So, that tells you. So Ryan Pepe over Glasnow. I'll do that.
Me too.
They were traded for each other. So kind of fun. I think they were traded for each other, right? That was the same trade, I think.
I'm trying to remember. It seems like the right answer, but yeah.
Yeah. That would be something I should probably have looked up before asserting, but you never know.
You can assert away. I'm looking it up right now as we sit here and talk. I'm looking to see, but
I like that range of pitcher though. There's a lot of pitchers I like in that range. So yeah,
he was traded for Ryan Pepiot. Not only did you guess that, you were correct in your guess.
Yay! There was much rejoicing. Yay!
Manny Margot and Tyler Glasnow for Johnny DeLuca and Ryan Pepiot.
Yeah. Now, I mean, both sides got what they wanted out of that deal, so that's cool.
You want one bonus starter?
Sure.
I don't like Gavin Williams at all at pick 140. I think that 13% K minus walk rate, but walks really spiked last year. He's got home run issues. The BABIP saved him last year. Is 254. I know his ERA was 306. His FIP was like 4.4. Left on base was lucky. BABIP was lucky. I think Gavin Williams is not gonna be good at pick 140.
All right, so I didn't get him at 140.
Oh, just take him. Sorry, we finally got someone you took.
Well, I was kind of out on the helium, but I thought I got him at an appropriate discounted price. I think I got him in the 12th round in yogurt.
That's a little more in the range where I think he starts to become okay at that point.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Is 173 is where I got Gavin Williams, and I do like that hasn't been walking guys this spring. I know it's silly but Ks and walks I do pay attention to in spring.
Yeah. And these things don't 8 innings, so he's made probably three quick starts and only a 3% walk rate. So yeah, that's if that sticks a little bit, maybe that works. But I just think of that range. Talking a top 150 pick. I know you got him a little bit later in yogurt, but 30% K minus walk scares me a little bit.
Fair. I think that's totally fair. All right, let's talk relievers. Let's talk closer.
I'm gonna let you go first here. I took a guy in the top 9. We mentioned the top 9 before, so I did take someone there. I think maybe you had someone a little bit later.
Yeah, I've got Josh. Well, okay, I've got 3. They're all in that third tier now of closers. Josh Hader, though, is the easy one there because not only at 122, not only do you have the injury problem there, but you can't even back him up with a cheap pick. And he had the shoulder problem, for God's sakes, last year. How many times did we just run away from pitchers with shoulder problems? Biceps tendonitis, also a really bad injury to have. He might be fine. He might get through the year. Fine. Great. You win. You beat me on that one. Fine. But I think it could end up as a disaster. I'm out on Raisel Iglesias for the price. I think there's a chance Robert Suarez, who signed a 3-year deal as opposed to the 1-year deal that Iglesias got, could end up getting just as many, if not more, saves. And I'm afraid of Carlos Estevez. We talked about that one last week there. He's also both Iglesias and Estevez are basically in the last 8 days are around pick 113. So that whole tier is kind of littered with landmines, I think.
Round 7 in the main event last night. Estevez picked 7-9, Fairbanks 7-6, Kenley 7-10. So there was a little quick run of closes. Pagan right after that in the 8th. Ryan Walker right after Pagan. So there was like that range of picks where you can see that people like, oh my gosh, I need to get closers. Iglesias went in the 6th round.
Ooh, yeah, hard pass for me at that price.
Yeah, man, you got to get one of those top guys. I don't want to take any of those guys in the 7th round. That is frightening.
Yeah. Well, and the point is though, and if you got one of those that's in those top guys, well, then we got another problem there too, because we're starting to run out of closers that we like.
We really are. I mentioned Kenley. He was one of my guys, but not my main guy. I'm not taking him in the 7th round at all. My guy is the 9th closer off the board, pick 86, probably going a little bit higher than that in main events as we get along here. Mine's Ryan Helsley, someone I had on both main events teams last year. Really liked him last year. I'm concerned of how strange the year was. And I know he sucked with the Mets, but his whip was 1.4 with the Cardinals. Like, I get it. His ERA was 3, but he was really gave up a lot of base runners. He was struggling then. K rate fell from 35% in 2023 to 29.7% in 2024, down to 25% last year, as the walk rate went up last year, up to 9.9%. So you got a guy who's not the 35% lights out guy we had a couple years ago, and then walking too many guys. Just a lot of guys on base. He had home run issues last year, 1.3 home runs, still a lot of swing and miss, but I just, I'm really worried, dude. Last year was so weird. I know, teams, guys get traded. Sometimes weird stuff happens, but I mean, can we just write that off? Like, he was horrible the last couple of months with the Mets, and his whip was 1.4 before he got there. I'm worried about this as a pitcher, and he's got to be a guy that you need as your anchor as a closer. And I like the top 8, number 9, Ryan Helsley. I am fully out on.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was that bad with the whip in St. Louis.
Yeah, me either until I did this tonight. Yeah,
I thought it was all Mets oriented, and I know he said he was tipping pitches and all that. Kittredge has got problem is going to begin the year on the IL, so they don't really have that obvious pivot right now. Although, scratch down the name Tyler Wells. He is dominating this spring right now, and he's out of a rotation spot. He could come in and be that out of the blue dominant guy, but the problem is Helsley's got the contract, and the comment from the manager saying Helsley's going to be strictly a 9th inning save guy.
Yeah, you always like when the manager says that, but there's enough concerns with me on the pitcher, and I'm looking at the main event last night. He went in the middle of the 5th round. There's no way I'm taking Helsley in the middle of the 5th round.
Yeah,
that's the price you have to pay too. It's gonna be up there.
Yeah, I get that. I have some similar concerns. I think that's a good one. So who are you pushing up? That's the question.
It's a really good question. It's probably one I don't have an answer to. I'm okay with probably Hoffman or Palencia that are probably okay pushing up. But I don't have a set answer for that right now. I'm gonna have to figure that out before the main event. There's not a lot of guys. I usually love 1 or 2 guys. Like, I'll take him a round or 2 early. My answer to that right now is to try and get one of the top 8.
Yeah, it's Palencia for me.
And
I'm okay with Hoffman, but I mean, it's volatile too. He gave up 15 homers for God's sakes. But there was a note. And I commented on my Twitter feed a little bit there. They said that Hoffman's going to, he used his fastball more than he did the year before when he was in Philly and put up such great numbers. He went away from his slider use. He's going to go back to that pitch mix this year. Why did he change in the first place?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I don't understand. But yeah, by the way,
some of Miguel Rojas is thankful though.
Yeah. PJ brought up in the chat there. Didn't Estevez have something similar last year? No, he had a back injury last year. So he might have had velocity issues concurrent with that, but he was like, his spring training was delayed. He didn't start pitching in spring training games till mid-March last year. So I think it's a little bit different. The fact that he had to ramp up sooner kind of concerns me that I haven't seen him play in pitch in the WBC. I did see him pitch in an exhibition game against the Tigers, when I think it was Wednesday when they were playing, or Tuesday, I think it was even. It was Tuesday because it was during the Beat Jeff Erickson draft where it was against the Tigers as a warm up for the WBC. He topped out at 90. He threw like 3 fastballs at 90, and that was with the rate. It was, I don't think that was Hawkeye. It was just 90. So I'm not sure that was firmly convincing to me that he's all the way back.
Yeah, he scares me as well. What do you think about a strategy of, you mentioned Josh Hader's your fade. Do you think there's anything to just taking a full stand that Hader's going to be hurt, not be good, and just taking Brian Abreu in the end of the 11th, 12th round?
Yeah, I mean, that cost has gone up too. That's
because he's a really good pitcher. If he were to fall into that job full time, he would be really valuable.
He'd be a top 10 closer, absolutely. Yeah. And he's I think what's the stat that he's the only reliever with 3 consecutive 100 strikeout seasons, something like that, or one of. But
interesting. He's got 100, 103, 105. That's a good stat right there. I like that.
Yeah. So point is, he's helping you a little bit with Ks. He's the classic. You can use him in a week where you don't have 7 good starters type of guy, even if he's not closing. And if
you take him in the 11th round, you kind of have to. That's gonna be someone you want to use pretty often.
Yeah, you have to get at least 15 saves out of him for it to be worth that. I would think.
I would think so too. Last question for you, since we're talking closers. You're the Reds guy. Where are you in Emilio Pagan and kind of in that tier we're mentioning?
I'm fine with him. I like him. I like Palencia better. I think I like Hoffman better. But I like Pagan enough. I like his job security.
He was a sneaky, pretty good strikeout guy last year too. 30% strikeout rate, 14.5% swing strike rate. I didn't know it was quite that high. I don't think of him that way, but he struck out plenty of guys last year.
Yeah, pitched in 70 games last year. I'm a little concerned about that, but
yeah, the BABIP was 200, so the ERA is coming up a little bit, and it's all the home runs. Like if you just avoid 3-run homers, give up solo home runs, I think he'll be fine.
And that's just the thing. He did that last year, which makes me think he probably won't do it this year. But that's also my creeping Reds fanism in there too,
for sure.
Tony Santana, by the way, pitched in 80 games last year, so
wow.
The jockey was, taking the whip to them in the stretch there in September. I think they both pitched like 5 of the last 7 days of the regular season.
Yeah.
But Francona does like having a one close and using him. So that I do like too.
Yeah. Cool. Well, always a lot of fun. Anybody else on your mind? Anybody? I feel like we hit a lot of guys here. A lot of people are mad at me for some of my takes, which means a successful fade episode. Anything else? Anybody else on your mind you want to mention before we jump out?
No, I'm spent, but I'm excited.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love this one. We'll, it's one of those things that we'll have receipts too. We do the podcast and we'll look at the end of the year. We always talk about it in September. We always talk about how our fades and targets did. So it's always, we'll have some hits, have some not hits, but hopefully get some good ones. But then I want to thank everybody for listening. The chat was really fun tonight. It was kind of going the whole way through. We probably can't get every question, but we tried to hit as much as we could. Thanks to Fantrax for the sponsorship of the podcast. We always really appreciate that. Other than that, we're back at you next Sunday night. Confirm, Jeff, you're going to do next Sunday night, correct?
Yep. Live from New York.
Live from New York. Hotel. Beautiful. We will be.
I'll be a tired boy because I'm helping run the board for the Tout Wars head-to-head league. Then I'm doing my home league AL only auction, and I'll do the podcast with you after that.
That is a day right there. I like it.
It is.
We were negative. We did fades this week. We're going to be very positive next week. We're going to talk about all our favorite targets in these positions. So if you don't like the fades, we're going to talk a lot of targets this week who we are drafting right before we go to Vegas too. So it'll be fresh in everybody's memory. So hopefully a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks everyone for listening on the audio version as well. I hope everybody has a really good week, and I will be back at you next Sunday night. Take care.